Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Reanimated, guys. I am Vlad St. Valentine. Sitting next to me is Mr. Joseph Bowen. What's going on, brother?
Not a whole lot, man. I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, how's your coloring book doing?
Oh, man, it is doing great. I got my notes in here. I can read half of them and not this half because it's in green. I put the green on the white, which doesn't work.
I told Joe to get a notebook and so take notes on, and he thought it'd be cute by getting a coloring book and some colored pens.
Orange and white doesn't work too well either. But now I know, thanks to Reggie here, purple does work for notes. And in fact, I've written more notes that I can actually read them.
Also sitting next to me is the host with Thermosis, Mr. Caden Ramos.
How's it going, guys?
You're doing better than Joey, I imagine. You can read your notes.
Yes.
I could read this half. It says right here, banana phone.
Guys, behind the camera today is Mr. Reggie Lincoln. What's going on, man?
Oh, man. Wait for my stimulus check.
Dude, I like how you're matching with your shirt and your hat.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just sell your soul completely to PlayStation?
Not yet. Only if they can see this on camera.
Dude, like I wouldn't.
Did that come together as like a one piece thing?
You actually went and sought out.
You consciously went out and got a shirt and a hat with the same design.
I got the hat myself. My girlfriend got the shirt.
Oh, he had to wear it then. Okay, yeah, we understand. No more shit given about it.
Yeah,
that's a great looking shirt.
He's a PlayStation exclusive.
He's a PlayStation exclusive. Remember when I tried to get back to the movie?
Nope.
Yeah.
This is what happens, okay? And we're talking about children.
Oh, just talking about how Romero likes to start off with dead kids, because didn't Night of the Living Dead start with a dead kid?
No.
No, I just had the dead kid at some point in time.
Later on. It started off with him in the graveyard. And the
so
guy
maybe it was just the Dawn of the Dead remake that had the dead kid?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, the remake
well, then that's not Romero's fault then.
Yeah, that wasn't Romero.
All right, then I can't blame Romero for that one. But the dumb friend stands.
I'm trying to remember who did that. The remake of that. That was not Zack Snyder. It was he did like one of the X-Men movies, I think.
Oh, Bryan Singer?
I think it was Bryan Singer. Yeah, I think it was him. I'd Google.
As long as it's not Brett Ratner. Anyway, I
gotta find out. This is gonna bother me. You do your thing. I'm gonna Google.
Okay. So the original movie, and talking about these in a linear fashion is kind of difficult. If you haven't seen the film, the idea is basically a
Zack Snyder and written by James Gunn.
Wow, you figured it would be better.
I liked it.
I didn't dislike it, but James Gunn is exceptional. I expect more out of James
Gunn.
I
expect better from James Gunn. Zack Snyder, I expected actually worse.
Although the zombie baby makes more sense now because I imagine he was fresh from trauma at that point in time.
That's such a trauma thing.
Yeah, that makes much more sense now. Okay,
yeah, you're right.
Hey, weren't we talking about the Crazies?
Yeah, we were talking about the
Okay,
Yeah.
That's right. So the original film, or actually both films, the premise is it's pretty simple: a military plane carrying a biological weapon that causes people to go insane, eventually die. And the trauma manifests in different ways. In the gestation period is did I say that right? It doesn't matter. The time for the symptoms to show up takes a little bit longer for everyone, but it crash lands in a small town, like a pond or a river near a small town.
In the original, it's in Pennsylvania.
Is it in Pennsylvania?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It doesn't matter where it's at. Small town fuckburg.
It's Romero. Everything Romero is Pennsylvania.
Okay, just like everything Stephen King is Castle Rock.
Exactly. Yeah.
Derry.
Yeah, but Romero uses Pittsburgh pretty much for everything.
Okay, well,
the capital of the world. Yeah.
Anyway, so the premise is the same in both films, but the execution is where we get it much different in both movies, and they both take a very, very different stance to how they present this topic. And I don't think either is bad.
Correct. I agree. Because the original focused more on the military coming in and how they're trying to contain it.
Well, the original jumped around to everything that was going on. And let me say this. I don't think either are bad. I like the original better. And I'm not just trying to be the fucking hipster guy who likes the old thing better. I like the way that the old one does not. Okay. So you have just the shit has hit the fan, right? You have this virus released. It is highly contagious. It's in the water supply. The military has, if you've ever read The Stand, the military kind of has a hush everything up first and then worry about actually controlling it later, just as long as nobody finds out. That's fine. It's kind of how what happens in The Stand. You know, they gets released in one place and this military guy orders it released in other places so they can't tell what country it comes from, and it wipes out the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
So you have in the original, I like that they showed what was going on for the military side too, because
Yes.
they weren't just. I mean, the only time you got to see the face of the military in the new movie is the scene where they grab the grunt and they got him down and they take his mask off. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which was reminiscent of scenes in the other film or in the original. But the original spent much more time showing that no one side is bad or good or anything, because you had young military guys, grunts, who didn't know what they were doing, remember their head, because like when the shooting started, there was the one guy who was doing this.
Yeah.
And then got shot because he was just completely
Yeah,
panicking
he
out
know
of
what
his.
to do.
Some bitch shooting at us, Vern. Get in here, boy. Get in here. Come on, get down.
You had the good ones who were like, I'm not here to really shoot people. Then you had the bad ones that were like looting people's wallets and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
they're casting lots,
Yeah,
like
so
like
you had that kind of thing going on, but it showed more of the military reaction to what was going on. Also, they knew ahead of time, like they were trying to plan things out.
And usually whenever you see these sort of things, the military's the bad guy, and you the higher up, the higher up it goes, the worse they are. And the only people that were ever played bad, because the first guy you see in the military, he's running stuff because he was sent there a couple weeks ago, and he's just trying desperately to get stuff in, and he's overwhelmed. Yeah. And then the next guy comes in who's higher than him, and he is so damn relieved to give up control. But the next guy in doesn't have any better hold on things, and he is just as expendable and just as ill-equipped. And it's it's like when they drag that scientist in there, the one who actually helped create the virus.
Like, I don't even have a lab. I can't do anything here.
He's like, y'all should have drugged me away. He's like, he just starts laughing. He's like, I can't believe how ill-equipped and how poorly planned this whole operation is.
Yeah.
And, the way they would show how frustrated they would get on each level of military, a level higher than them would be lying to the one below it. And they would find out, the dude who was running the thing, the white guy, the gray haired white guy who looks like a baseball coach, who was running shit to begin with. He was, he didn't know what was going on. And then Dime Store Billy D. Williams comes in and takes over, and he's like telling him shit that he didn't know. He's like, you guys lied to me. He's like, well, yeah, you weren't supposed to know. And then later on, he finds out crap that he didn't know. You know what I mean? It's just, everyone's just because when the scientist guy comes in, he's like, oh, they told you this was a flu vaccine? No, this is a biological weapon that destabilizes territories and makes people go insane. And there is no cure for it because we never came up with one.
Yeah.
And we got our funding cut, and we were supposed to be getting rid of this stuff. You said it was a nerd in your reports, 99.99%. So technically a nerd. It's not a nerd. It's just, it was a red tape thing. This movie's got two names.
Yeah.
Codename Trixie and the Crazies. And I was saying, that the other name for this, the alternate title should be Red Tape the Movie, because
that's a good one.
Yeah, so much military.
Because it shows a lot of that.
Because the theme of the first one is panic and chaos ruining the day, because the people panic, the people rebel, and a lot of times, especially one of the things I love about the first one, we'll get into this in a second, is how you can't tell necessarily if they are crazy or if they're just fighting back from military, oppression in the small town.
And that was my favorite thing too, is there was no telling who was who really in that situation.
And how far along they were in the crazy.
Yeah, because there were no signs. There was no symptoms, nothing like that outside of them just being weird. And their idea of putting everyone into the gymnasium of the high school, it just like, well, now you're just putting a bunch of like really panicked people with people who may or may not be infected.
No one had anything that's going on.
Which makes even more chaos. And it's kind of it's a unique thing. I really like that concept of them trying to like contain it without really separating anything out.
Well, because none of them know what's going on. I mean, heck, there were troopers who just like on patrol that just went and laid themselves up in a farmhouse and started getting drunk.
Yeah.
Like, let someone else do the work. Who cares, Like, you got different segments of different people who were obviously just behaving as humans would. So there was never like the military is this faceless evil organization, which is kind of what I was getting from the new one in the beginning. They didn't show up, and they did like the big brother thing with the van, and you never saw anyone high up in the military. You only saw two faces for military people, because the rest of the time they were just faceless shock troopers in masks.
Yeah.
You saw the one grunt, you saw the one, I don't know what he was. CO, whatever
official,
he was. Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah, whatever they got. Yeah, near the end.
So I don't like that. I don't like because I like the fact that they showed in the original that even the military had no handle. Everyone, because when they cut back between the people and the military, everyone was having their own level of panic, their own level of disorganization. I mean, they got shot at their own command center by some rogue guy. So, I mean, it was just, there was never a handle on anything. Just that when it ends, the guy's getting sent away to another one. He's just so world and battle weary from it all. And they're like, "You did a great job." He's like, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." It's just
he's just done. He's like, "Hey, we're sending you to Louisville now."
And do the same thing. It'll be easier because now you got the stuff. You know what you're doing. You got one under your belt.
The experience what you're doing. He's like, "Yeah, whatever."
So the military is bad. They're big brother. They're watching. They're doing ominous things. Our heroes are the plucky human, the plucky townsfolk who are trying to survive this horrible thing and just trying to get out.
Very stereotypical characters as well.
And you can tell exactly who the crazies are because they start getting the veins and the face paint and stuff like that. Whereas, again, the original, I don't know if these people are drugged or if they're just stressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no telling because they look just like themselves. If anything, they might just be acting, like you said, out of stress.
And again, what the thing does is it's real reductive just to kind of say it makes you go crazy. It amplifies your worst tendencies or your worst desires, it seems to.
Right, because different people acted differently when they became ill to it.
Yes.
Like in the original, the one girl just kind of walked out and started just talking to the military guys as they came out. She's like, "Hi, what's your name?"
Our movie opens up, though, the original opens up with the military, everything just kind of going nuts. And there's the local doctor, and apparently they've been here for a while. And the local doctor and the mayor and the sheriff, they know what's going on. Or they know about as much. Well, they know as much as the first military guy was, which was people might get sick from something that dropped in the water. It's supposed to be some vaccine. It's not the big of a deal. We'll try and contain it. Just if everyone gets sick, bring them in. We'll take care of it. Yada, yada.
Yeah.
Doctor finds out that sees that things are getting worse and worse and that they're bringing more military in. So he steals some of the vaccine because apparently there isn't it's not even a vaccine. It's just
antibiotics. Strong antibiotics.
Yeah.
It's like a strong antibiotic. It's the best they got. And so he gives it to the nurse, and the nurse is apparently pregnant. His nurse's name is Judy. Judy is going to be our main character outside of, and her husband, kind of.
She's our nurse.
Well, this is really kind of an ensemble cast, honestly.
Yeah.
The original is more of an ensemble. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Doc gives Judy, because she's pregnant, he's like, "I don't want you, the baby, anywhere near infected people, but the military's not going to let you leave. Take a syringe, take some antibiotics, go give it to your husband. You guys go isolate yourselves and get away from everybody." And then she goes and hops in her car.
Social distancing, people, please.
She goes and hops in her car and drives away. The military's like, "Hey, stop that." And I'm just thinking, they're like, her car's here and the military stuff's in front of her and she backs out and leaves. I'm like, wouldn't they have just backed in behind, like pulled in behind her when they got there in the first place and like not let her
I would
out?
have seen her walking to the car. The first one, like, yeah, stop her.
But anyway, well, that's what happens when you have high school kids being your military. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Too busy texting memes to each other.
Small town Pittsburgh and their memes.
Their memes in 73. Took a long time to draw those things by hand and mail them to each other. Just saying. It does affect everyone a little bit differently. A lot of people do seem to get fairly violent with it, though. Like the granny who's sitting there the granny who's sitting upstairs knitting.
Yeah.
And the guy goes upstairs. She's like, "Oh, hello," and just stabs him like a couple of times. Then just goes back to knitting.
She goes back to knitting again. Yeah. I like that. That's like one of my favorite parts of the original for sure.
Yeah, it's
where she's like gonna snap for a second, stab that one dude, and it's like back to knitting.
And we open up not really knowing what's going on. A guy's burning his house down and killing his whole family inside, and
he wrecked that place with a chair.
Yeah, it's a little girl and boy. They're up late at night. The little girl's like, "Let's go back to bed," and then they're smashing. The little boy's like, "Hide," and it's like their dad who's breaking everything. And
yeah, it's like
they go and try and wake the mom up, and she's had her throat slit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the dad was the Rock and the house is McFoley. Those chair shots.
What the hell is McFoley doing?
Don't touch. I told you not to touch it.
You're pretty.
In the original, we keep cutting back to the military, who is more frequently or more frazzled, as the time goes on and things are getting more stressful. And we cut back and forth to them, and we've got Judy, David, and Clank, and then this dad and his daughter who are on the run and trying to just basically avoid the military at this point. And so we hop back and forth between the two of them in the original. In the remake, they choose to just focus on David, Judy, his friend, and David in this one is the sheriff instead of just being like a volunteer firefighter.
Right.
And it's him and his deputy, and
who's still Clank.
Yeah, we don't find that out till the end.
We don't know until the end. Yeah, but that is still Clank. Yeah.
His first name is Russell.
And he looks more like What'd you say? He looked like the dude from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean, yeah,
wood eye dude.
Rigetti.
Yeah, okay.
Rigetti was the
The
character.
wooden eye dude.
Mhm.
We're going back and forth in the original, which again I really like. And there's no makeup on the people who are going insane. The things they do might have been something they might do anyway if they were pushed, because again it's just kind of amplifying those worst tendencies, you
Mhm.
know. And they go overboard with it, in the new one. These guys who are hunters, they get
Yeah.
infected and now they look like zombies, but they're hunting, killing people and eating them and stuff like that, which is cool, I
Yeah.
guess. But the
I
reason
liked it,
the
but-
reason they were in the movie is because they needed a big bad guy.
Yeah.
Because modern movies have to have the big, the main boss to fight at the end,
Mhm.
because everything's a video game.
Yeah,
So
because back in at least with the 70s, everything is more about the story and how it plays out. And
exactly, which
it's
is why
less about having that final conflict as it is like it's telling the conflict the entire time.
which is why when you have your little downer ender moment, then they leave it kind of obtuse and kind of like, well, are they going to figure stuff out? Or is it just going to be completely missing themselves again and red tape bullshit? And then they just leave you kind of hanging there and just kind of ends.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like we were watching last night. It's like, oh, it's over. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
all right then.
yeah. It doesn't give you much at the end. Yeah. So yeah, I dug the remake a little bit more.
Really?
What about you, Kaden?
After everything you agree with me on everything we just complained about.
Yeah.
And you still liked it more.
It was a more entertaining movie than the original.
Okay. Yeah. But
And for me, it's more about the entertainment value, which, while yes, it's very shallow.
it's a shallow
The remake is very shallow.
It's a shallow, pretty remake that completely missed the point.
Oh yeah, I agree entirely. Yeah, but it was more fun for me to watch it versus the original. But the original was still good.
Hot damn, I disagree.
It was-
completely.
The original was good. I liked it. I liked what he was saying. I liked everything, but entertainment value, I had more fun watching the remake.
So the remake, as far as that goes, I think it was a little bit more in the horror genre than the original. The original one is more psychological.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll say that. Yeah.
I actually have a note here. Are they going full zombie apocalypse with this crap? Because I was really annoyed by that. I was really annoyed.
That bothered me at the end for sure.
No, when the guy shows up with the pitchfork, or when they start
Drag-
running
drag-
down
Oh,
the
That's Draggy McStabby.
when they start breaking down the quarantine at the very beginning, it looks like a scene from 28 Days Later. You know? And that was what bugged me. That is exactly what it reminded me of. I felt like I was watching 28 Days Later when I was watching this. Even the look of the crazy people
Mhm.
looked like
Yeah.
the zombies from 28 Days Later. And that annoyed the piss out of me, dude. I'm not gonna lie, because I like the original. Like, okay, remember the scene where they were burning the bodies in the original,
Yes.
and then they are attacked by a bunch of civilians? You did not know that civilians were crazy until the very end. And the only thing that showed you that they were crazy, because it could have just been civilians fighting back, because you saw one dude lighting dynamite and throwing it. Like that takes it was a coordinated attack.
Yeah.
They weren't just killing each other willy-nilly. They were in a group. They were attacking in formation, or not formation, but they were attacking as a group. They were throwing dynamite. Something that takes some cognition.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing that set it off they were crazy is the woman following behind the group sweeping.
Sweeping.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wish they had left that out, because I wish they had made it more obtuse.
Mhm.
No, you're right. Well, I mean, again, in the remake, they had the same kind of thing with the redneck guys that were working as a team, if you will, but not quite to that level.
They
of
were
original.
obviously crazy. They were hunting and field dressing
Yes.
people.
Yeah. But it's still kind of there where like the ones that were able to work as a team did,
Mhm.
but not quite
Okay,
to
but
the same level. Because like these guys, you couldn't tell.
you missed the point of the example of the teamwork thing. The teamwork thing is simply to show that the people were not acting like a bunch of savages or whatever. And
True.
because they didn't have a physical representation and weren't just acting like gonna kill everything in sight, because their anger was not directed at each other, but directed just at the military, which it should be, because they're under martial law. You know what I mean?
Because at the time,
Their
people were revolting from
actions
that. Yeah.
Are completely understandable. Crazy or sane at this point. So you don't know if they're crazy or not, or just desperate people fighting back because they're losing their homes and their lives and their family. You know, people are dying around. They're scared. So, which is it? Well, we find out because the woman starts sweeping, and again, I wish they'd left that part out. But the fact that you had to question it for a while, is something that I think the original pulls off, or the remake doesn't even try to.
Mm.
Again,
No, it doesn't even.
and it's like
bother.
you said, it tries to go more horror than
Yes.
psychological thriller, I guess. So I think the original got lost in all this because it was just another. It was more of the same. I mean, it had a little bit of a twist on it, but I mean, it wasn't. It was still a zombie outbreak essentially.
Yeah.
But old Clanker, he starts getting more and more aggressive, and eventually him and David kind of get in a little bit of a scuffle, and David knocks him down, and Clank's just like, "Hey, man, I'm losing it. My head's going," and he held it together, man. There in the end, he pulled it together enough to being like, "Hey, I'll meet you at the Zebra Club." It's like some club outside of wherever they were stationed at. Back in the military. Obviously, not somewhere you're getting to, but it was like, you enjoy the fantasy, go off on your suicide mission. It was really sweet. I actually really liked that scene.
That was a good send off. Yeah, it really was.
And he goes off and like kills like 5 or 6 dudes, and then thinks he's done and gets capped in the side of the head by one he didn't. He forgot to count the men.
He went out so well in that one too. Like,
way better than Clank in the original or the new one, who just
much better.
Just walks up and gets shot by a blockade of guys.
No, him going out the way in the original in the forest was actually really cool. It's probably my favorite scene in the whole movie.
John Rambo. Well, it's because there's action, right?
Yeah. I'm simple.
I do have Clanker pulled together enough in the end. Nice headshot though.
That was a cool shot.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
you
kind of like see right through and everything. Oh, that was actually a really cool.
And he kind of stutters for a second and then just kind of lays himself. Yeah, it was a good death.
That was a good scene. Like they.
All right, that was the best death in the original. Best death in the remake, though, was girl getting hung in the car wash.
Mm-hmm. So what
the whole car wash scene I enjoyed.
What the new movie has going for it that the original didn't, because the original was made like it was like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was made for like $250,000. It was nothing in the budget.
They had very little to work with.
They didn't have like stunt guys. They used like the local firefighters and things like that.
That's also Romero though for the first like 3 or 4 films he made. So
all right. So what the new one has advantage over the original, and it's just a budget and time thing, and as far as modern movie making goes, and I didn't realize it's 11 years old now, but still, was the set pieces. You know what I mean? You had the car wash scene. Was really neat. The claustrophobia, the whole like you feel safe in your car, but then the people are breaking in. They're coming in and out of the rags. Dude loses his gun because he's panicking when he really could have used it 5 seconds later.
He definitely needed it later.
And then Becca is they're home free, man. A guy sweeps down the roof and like hooks her neck on the vacuum line or tubes and just yanks her out of the back of the car. Oh, dude, that was
they're trying to get away. Yeah. That whole scene was cool because again, it's the whole claustrophobia thing. It's doing a whole lot with very little.
Well, especially knowing that you just killed your friend because you're the one who gunned it.
Yeah, exactly. And then also, it's for me, it's from like the camera angle, from like what you're watching as a viewer. You're in the same spot as the people in the car wash who sees nothing but like suds all over the windows.
Yeah.
So you also cannot tell what's going on out there.
No, it was a well shot scene.
That was really well done.
Well shot scene, and again, that was a cool scene. And honestly, although I was not really entertained by the scene so much, the diner set piece with the truck stop set piece.
Yeah.
Fighting in the little under bays. They go under the trucks and stuff.
Yeah, the oil
cool
base.
idea. Yeah, the oil base. Cool idea. I mean, I like the ideas and some of the stuff they did. I like the fact that they try to change them like their own thing. And I like the fact that I kind of like for them, not because I like the original better, but for them in 2010, they're like, all right, guys, we're not as talented as George Romero. We don't have the time and the subtlety. So let's just cut the military shit out of it and not complicate things. And let's just
bring Romero back for this either.
We can't jump around too much, so let's just keep it simple with one. They streamlined it. They did their own thing. And I appreciate all that out of them. I really do. But it was still a soulless remake of a movie that had a point.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I agree with that. But at the same time, I think as its own, if you don't think of it as a remake, it does.
You have to because it's a remake.
Yeah.
It's like we said about Child's Play, the new Child's Play remake.
Ugh.
If they just called that Murder Doll and it was an episode of the new Twilight Zone, it would have been fucking awesome.
Yeah, it'd been fine. Yeah. I think in this case, as its own, it stands up just fine. If you compare it as a remake, yeah, there's not much of a story like the other ones.
Hollywood, quit thinking that you have to like cash in on names that are already established and just try something new. I think if you had remade this and gone with the alternate title for it,
Codename Trixie.
Codename Trixie,
Fine. Would have been fine.
Or even just Trixie by itself.
cool.
Yeah, that would have been fine. I'd have been cool with that as well. But like, I don't know.
Well, I'm saying I think those names pop more. I think they garner interest. They're more memorable.
Mhm.
And I think that if you don't go in marketing yourself as a direct remake by calling it the same exact thing, then you're better off as far as not inviting those comparisons.
yeah,
So if you don't want to invite the comparisons, don't call yourself the same damn thing.
yeah, because there was no pie in a diner in the original. That's what they messed up. They should have known to put pie in that diner. But they didn't have.
Always have pie in a diner. I don't know, man. I don't dislike the remake or anything. I just don't think it's anything more than generic. It's generic.
Oh yeah, it's very generic.
It's got some cool set pieces. It's well shot. It's well paced. I
think
don't.
that's my thing. Is the pacing was better with the original.
Yeah,
No, sorry. The pacing was better with the remake than it was the original because
disagree.
like the original had some good stuff, but it also had some really slow moments. There wasn't really a lot of slowness with the remake. With the new one.
There were a little bit of slow moments in the original, but that was all due to the military red tape.
Yeah,
Because
I think that's what slowed it
anytime
down
that I
for me is,
got
like-
bored with the military stuff in the original, it was all because he was like, all right, well, I need to get my voice print ID done. Blah, 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 blah.
yeah. There's a
What's
lot of
this?
that.
But
There's a
that
lot
kept
of
me
them
engaged
singing
because
the same
it was
offense, but-
ramping up their own frustrations with their own policies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the guy goes off to like, I've got it, Eureka, and runs at the door and is immediately grabbed and tried to be hoarded into the thing.
They try to throw him into the
Yeah,
the
crazy
murder
tank.
room. The murder room, or was it the clown room? I forget.
It's whatever. They try and throw him in the gymnasium.
Crazy
So,
Jim.
It's
Crazy Gym.
the birthplace of
The
mosh
Jamboree.
pits.
Oh, that's right. Because the original had the crazy gym.
Mhm.
The remake had the different rooms, different things. The
Yes.
murder
Yes.
room, the
Clown room.
clown room, as I put it.
The crazy gym where mosh pitting was born. I don't know, man. I think the original, the way it ramped up, it didn't tell you what was going on. The way it ramped up the
Right.
frustration, the way it ramped up, because all it was
That didn't exist with the remake.
it was a comedy of errors was what the original was about.
Yes.
It was, you took the wrong guy. Well, he got there and he did something amazing, but you knocked him over. You got the guy who's naturally immune, but are they going to get it? Who knows? They've lost all the notes. They're having to start over from square one.
They didn't even get
You
his
know?
blood when they took him in the first place.
But at the end of the movie, and he comes walking in, now that they have him, are they going to take his blood, or whatever? And the guy's like, oh, come on. Another one? You kidding me?
Yeah,
I
you
need
just
a immediate
done,
check.
The remake did have a few things that drove me nuts. For instance, as I put, the Nuka-Cola town and the Indiana Jones refrigerator ...
Oh,
but in a truck.
Yeah. The Indian.
That bothered me.
So yeah, they survive this virus that escapes, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna hop out of the
Oh.
truck in the aftermath of a nuclear explosion.
Yeah. Oh, my whole thing was like, okay, well, let's see. There's the zombie apocalypse thing that happened in this town. What are we gonna do next? Well, okay, well, they gotta get away. Well, how do we make that bigger? What's bigger than zombies? A nuclear bomb. Let's blow it up. They're gonna be in a truck that survives the blast, throws it a bit, kind of like the refrigerator from Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
And that's my first thought was the Indiana Jones, the Crazies.
Yeah, but then they get out in the nuclear radiation.
Oh yeah,
like,
just walk in like, done. We're alive.
I'm waiting for the moment when you tell us why this was a good movie and better than the original.
Oh, because I like the action in it. I like the pacing. Where's my note here? Draggy McStabby. I like Draggy McStabby.
we like it because it was more of a horror movie.
Yeah.
I don't dislike it.
And-
I'm shocked and appalled though that he says it's better than the original. That's my
I'm not
sticking
saying
point.
it's better. I enjoyed it more, but I still like
There
the
are
original.
Parts that are better.
Yeah.
Each one has its own different qualities for it.
Storytelling and narrative, the original was better. Yes, absolutely. Effects and pacing and action wise, the remake I thought was better.
I don't even mind the pacing of the original, but effects, yes, you have the red paint blood because it's George Romero in the 70s. What do you want?
Well, I mean, at least he went to red because originally he's using Hershey syrup for Night of the Living Dead, so
That's true. With
Well, it's in black and white, though.
What do you want?
you can get away with that. Yeah. He should have just kept that. I'm about it.
Yeah, if the infected had the black blood.
So wait,
Ooh,
hold on.
yes.
So stop. Are you trying to say, just subtly, because you hadn't come out with it yet, that you enjoyed the remake more than the original?
No, I think I both enjoy them both equally about the same.
All
I'm
three of
I'm
us
not
are on different pages. We
I
have
am
someone in the
not
middle,
ups-
someone on one side, and then someone on the other side.
yeah, as far as like with
Ah.
our different reviews go and whether or not we like which one better, each of them had their own benefits for me. I wouldn't pick one over the other
I
if
feel
we
like I've
had,
been taking crazy pills.
been drinking-
It's funny because we're watching the Crazies.
you've been drinking the water.
What?
Jokes
Have you
and
been
jokes
drinking the
and-
water?
I'm drinking the water.
Jokes and jokes and jokes and jokes.
Yeah, man. The other one, the original
think-
is just so.
It was better written. Like there's
It had a point. It was a master
was.
class in. It was a master class in ramping up tension and showing the frustration and the ineptitude on all fronts as everyone is just constantly scrambling. And the remake is Handsome McHandsome has to get his wife to safety.
in a nutshell, yes.
Yeah, again, I said I appreciate. Like, I keep talking like I don't like the. I hated the movie. The movie was fine.
Yeah.
But it was.
I know it was
fine.
fine.
It was honestly, it was on the level of. All right, as far as the remakes go, I put it right up there with the Arlie Ermy, Leatherface. Just fine, passable. I enjoyed it enough. It was cool. It was different. It did its own thing enough to where, you got something entertaining out of it.
Mhm.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, the performer of Gunnar Hansen is Leatherface, is what makes Leatherface Leatherface.
Mhm.
And Homeboy completely missed the damn point
Oh, yeah.
in the remake. That's what I'm saying about this one.
Yeah.
This one was an entertaining film in that nice, edgy 2000 sort of way, but it completely misses the point. Worse than Pearl Harbor.
Why did you say that name?
No, there's a lot of this could just be chalked up to a misunderstanding.
A lot of it.
And I think that's one of the things I like so much about the original compared to the new one, is because so much of this could have just been misunderstanding, a fluke. It all could have been saved if you just let the fat guy get through with the blood samples. You know, there's all these little moments where
Or
they
if
could
they
have
just-
saved the day, and it just misses. And I love it. It is a comedy of errors executed almost as flawlessly as one of those mousetrap games, except for everything fucking goes wrong. And I love it. I love it. I absolutely love I like this movie a lot. So that's my final thoughts, sirs.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of both. I liked how they did both, but
I don't
very
know.
rarely is that the case for me where I enjoyed the original and the remake.
I don't know. We got the downer, ambiguous ending in the original, and the new one gave us them walking into the nuclear sunset together because we had to have them survive, right?
Well, no, then you had to have that hook at the end though too, where the same military group with the like watching from space or whatever was still targeting them the entire time and the world credits.
Yeah,
It's
as they were walking
it's
into
like,
town.
yeah, it's happy, but at the same time, maybe it's not. But
Well,
that's
that's as-
typical
but
for
that's
the
as-
time when it came out.
But that's
though,
as far
too.
as they'll go.
Yeah, that's where it stops because you know there's not gonna be another one.
They're not going to shoot the pregnant chick in the belly and let her die out in the guy's arms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
like how they would in the original where it's like,
Exactly,
well,
which was great.
yeah,
It was a
that
great, nice downer 70s sci-fi
oh,
horror
God,
ending.
it was-
All right, guys. Any final thoughts on this movie? Movies?
No, I thought the original played more with your brain than what the remake did. The remake played more with your adrenaline system.
That's a good assessment.
That's a very good way to put it. Yeah, but I recommend both of them for sure.
Oh yeah, totally. Both are good movies. As far as like, had the 2010 movie just been the 2010 movie by itself, like kind of like we say with all these, you know, we probably would have enjoyed it. But we probably wouldn't have thought about it much if someone brought up like, remember the Crazies? Oh yeah, the movie was all right. I remember that. Yeah. Not something you're like, oh shit, when's that come out on DVD? I got to own that. That's great. Like, I want to own the original. I don't really care to own the remake. I don't give a shit. Guys, stay tuned. We're gonna keep bringing you content. And you guys got anything?
No.
Say hi to your mother for me. I would trust the Reading Rainbow
Oh.
guy to fucking tell me the truth about
Dude.
questions.
Jordan LaForge can tell me
All
whatever the
trivia,
fuck he
yeah.
wants.